Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me today at Cindy Stamps for You. I hope that you've been enjoying my series on Easter projects and cards. This is going to be my third in the series, and we'll be using a different technique. So far in my first video, we have made this Easter card, and this was featuring the pierced bloom dies, and the sentiment is from Celebrating You, which we'll be using again in today's card. And in the second video, we made the treat holder that can hold a 4-inch chocolate bunny or whatever equivalent that you might be able to find to fit into this box. In today's video, we're going to be making this card, and the technique that I'll be sharing with you is dry embossing with framelits. And you might be able to see the edge on the inside of this particular framelit where my sentiment is. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. I'll move everything else aside. So here are the basic pieces to make this card, and then we'll have scraps that we'll bring in to create the flowers with the die cuts. All of the measurements and items that I'm using today will be provided in the description of this video below. All right, so to begin, we have our card base, and the basic white is going to be layered. But the first item that we're going to be working on is this technique. We're going to die cut the framelit, and then we're going to come in with another framelit to create that embossed edge. So let me just show you what I used here. And unfortunately, this die cut set is also retiring. It's one of my go-to dies. I've been using this in my previous videos, as you might have watched. So let me just show you which two I'll be using on this card. So I chose the top two, one to cut out and then the other to do the raised image. The first step will be to cut out the outer edge. So I'm going to go over to my die cut machine and get that cut, and I'll be right back. Okay, so that has been cut out and ready to be embossed. But one of the items I wanted to point out to you is the top of this is stitched, and I did want that to be shown, as you can see. On the other side, it's a little more faint. So there is a right way and a wrong way to create this embossed image. Let me just show you a couple of examples of that. Okay, so there are two options here in today's video, depending on the look that you're after. The first one is, this is the one that we're going to be making today. This has the center portion where the embossed line is raised, where this one is more indented. And it's just a matter of flipping your paper. You could see on the back side how this is raised, but I don't see the stitching as well. So we're going to go ahead and I'll show you how to create this. So we're going to go ahead and use my multi-purpose platform, and I will be turning to tab 1. And just keep in mind that everyone's die cut machine and platforms are calibrated slightly different. So the sandwich that we're going to be building may be slightly different from what I have from what you have. All right, so after tab 1, we're going to go ahead and add one of my cutting plates. And the next item that I needed to add, and again, I just played with this. I kept running paper and cardstock through, and I found that using cardboard for my Big Shot was the right thickness to create this embossed image that I wanted, the depth of the image. All right, and then the next thing you need, and this is an important piece, this is a silicone rubber. I think I got this from the old embossing plates, and I just hung on to this. But you can get these anywhere. So this is a silicone rubber, again, a key part to this technique. And then the next item is your cardstock. Now, in order to create that raised panel on the inside, I have my stitching up top. I do have to flip it over, put the stitching side down, okay? And then you add the other framelit that you want to have embossed on the inside. Now, again, critical. There is a cut side with a ridge and then the flat side. The flat side has to be down, not the cut side, because you will cut through the silicone rubber in your paper. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and add my other cutting plate to the top of this. And that is the sandwich. And so what I will do now is I'll run that through and we'll move on from here. Okay, so we are back and we'll go ahead and take a look at our embossed image. All right, so we'll just peel everything off here. Set that aside. Okay, so you can see pretty well that depression that has created. Now this is the back side of my paper. You can see the stitching isn't as prevalent, but now I turn it over and I can see my stitching, and then the center panel has been raised, and that's what I wanted to achieve in this dry embossing today. All right, so let's go ahead and start assembling the rest of the card. The first thing I did was I stamped my greeting and then glued it onto the panel. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do that, and then I'll bring in all of my flowers that I die cut. Okay, we'll glue that onto the basic white panel using my Tombow glue. Okay, so I went ahead and I punched out a bunch of my flowers using my the Pierce Blossoms dies. And we'll go ahead and just pick out from my container whatever flowers we wanted to create for this design today. And I also have my foam pad with my stylus to create the dimension on the flowers as I've shown in the other videos. All right, so let me go ahead and sort out what we want to do here today. And why reinvent the wheel? I think I'll just go ahead and follow the patterns of those flowers. With the larger flower, I used my bone folder and then just went around the petals to create that dimension. We'll go ahead and grab another one here. Okay. And I am rolling the petals down so they just kind of pop up then once you've put them onto the card, if you were wondering. Okay, so now the centers of the flowers. So I'll just add a little glue here. And I'll bring in my stylus to create that dimension on the centers. See how they just pop up? All right, we'll add this one. Okay, and then the last flower. And just a circular motion. Just create that dimension. All right, and then we'll go ahead and add a few centers. All right, now the flowers I used dimensionals, so I'm going to go ahead and put a dimensional on all 3 of the back side of these. After we put the dimensionals on the back side of the flowers, we'll place them around the sentiment and then we'll fill in with leaves. And that's just, I just placed those randomly. Let's see, we'll come in a little bit higher there. Okay, and then we'll fill in with the leaves. I will be cutting them down slightly and then curling them up to provide a little dimension. And then we'll just fill them in. So let me just go ahead and cut off right here. So these leaves don't have the line, so I may want to come in with my bone folder to give them a little curl, just so they also have a little dimension. Before I glue, I think I'm just going to go ahead and lay these in here to see how it looks before I start gluing, just in case I want to adjust. Okay, so we'll just put him. Okay, and I think I'll grab another one to put right inside the center there. So let's see, we have a little one here. Okay, and I'm just going to grab this single leaf, and I think we'll have one more in here, and I think that should be fine. So I'll go ahead and start gluing everything in place, and then we'll add it to our card base. All right, so all of my leaves have been glued down, and then I'm going to go ahead and add in dimensionals, and then we'll have that raised on top of our card base. Okay, and this is another very quick card. It shouldn't take you very long at all to create. All right, so dimensionals, and then just center that up. And this card is just about done. I'm going to go ahead and add more pearls to the center. Okay, and this is the last element that we wanted to add to this card. And then here's another card that's showing you different layout using one of the larger flowers from the Pierce Blooms dies. Well, thank you again for joining me today, and I hope that you've enjoyed this series of 3 videos featuring Easter cards and treat holder. And if you'd like to see more of my videos, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel down below to receive notifications. Or you can check my Stampin' Up! Website for updates. Also, feel free to post a comment or a question below. And if you have any other comments, certainly you can email me. All of my links are listed in the description below. Thank you again and have a great day. Bye-bye.